tight. Like if you had thrown this guy out in the field for 4 years and brought him out and tried to, he wouldn't be loose like this. He wouldn't be able to trot like this. But he would be, he would probably just have no muscle, really. So he looks to me like a really good dressage horse. He looks, as good as the event horse earlier for sure, as good as either of them. He's really solid in the bridle. His pole is the highest point. He's just a tad in front of the vertical, which is beautiful. But more important than any of that, he's sweeping. He's covering the ground, and his shoulders and his hips are swinging and covering the ground. Little thing's going on right here. Okay, I'll just hold it. And the white wraps are really important, especially with the dark bank. You ever go to a dressage barn to buy a horse? They always have white polo wraps on. That's how you can tell they're good movers. And I'm serious. When we're selling dressage horses, if you know it's a dressage client with the white polos on, no, they just look nice. All right, go ahead and change direction. So this is exactly what we want in a good working trot. The horse is swinging, covering the ground, do it all day long, he's happy. And notice that Kendra's not in the dressage saddle though, right? She's in her same saddle that she does the hunter's in. It's a hunt seat, forward seat saddle. So her leg is got more angle in the knee and the hip. Doesn't really matter, you can still do good dressage this way. She'll love it when she's sitting in the trot too. What you don't have is you can't wrap your leg as far around the horse, and so if you had a warm blood in particular, where you really had to push the horse out in front of you, at times you might want the dressage saddle to wrap your legs around. If you were doing FEI level Grand Prix dressage, you would want to have your legs down there and ride much more from your hips, and your hips work differently when your leg is down long under you. Go from trot to walk. I'm not going to try to improve this trot. Good, back to trot. So we haven't talked about transitions at all. This horse's trot-walk transition is pretty nice. Do that again, trot to walk. Good, keep walking. I told you. Simon says, okay, keep walking. So it's important when you go from a downward transition, trot, walk, walk, halt, canter, trot, anything like that, that the horse brings his hind legs under and lifts back a little bit and can do it smoothly and stays what we call in the dressage world through, T-H-R-O-U-G-H. In other words, the connection doesn't change. The back comes up. So you don't Good. So Kendra's got a very good seat, and you can't really tell, but she's using a little bit more leg, just like the other horses. When you snap the trot, the horse sort of thinks it means weight. So it means that the leg pushes a little bit. And it's quite doable, even with the shorter stirrups. And she's maintaining a good connection, and her hands are still. She has a straight line elbow to bend, and she has elbows. You can't do dressage with straight arms. You have to have elbows because that's where the softness comes from, to have the elastic connection. So let's say canter. Good, so he's maintaining, pole is the highest point, accepting the bit, he's chewing on it a little bit. And he's got a little bit of a, slow motion rocking horse canter, not what you normally have for the race horses. Let's see about a 10-meter circle, like only dressage people know what a 10-meter circle is. 100 people don't use 10-meter circles, but you know what I mean, right? Okay. And 20-meter circle, lengthen the canter. We're going to wake this guy up a little bit too and inspire him. Okay, back to a smaller canter. Good, and a 10-meter circle again. You can't really see it, but if I were to ask Kendra what she was doing, okay, and lengthen the canter, to lengthen versus to shorten, I think she would say she uses more leg in the small canter than the big canter. She relaxes her core and lets the horse cover the ground to go faster, and now shorten. Now she slows her body down and she squeezes her legs and locks her hips and stops moving quite as much to make the smaller steps. Okay, now get in 2-point. Shorten your reins. Maintain the same canter. Don't let him drop his pull. Did you notice how as soon as she got up in 2-point, he fell apart a little bit. He dropped his head, his hind legs weren't quite under him as much. The sitting really helps to keep the horse up in front of you. Good. Now lengthen your canter. Gallop on a little bit. And now, without sitting, do a collective canter. She's squeezing. Good. She's locking her knees a little bit. Back to trot. Let him stretch. Rising. Circle right. Watch him just drop his neck. Let him go even lower if you will. Take your time. You can let him just really relax his body like he's on vacation here. Good, there you go. No change of rhythm, that's good. And walk. Did you just notice how when she went to walk, she almost dropped her reins before he even walked? Those reins had nothing to do with the walk transition. It was she stopped twisting. And I don't know if you could see this in the difference between the sitting and the two-point and the canter. But when she was lengthening and shortening her stride, she was letting the horse go forward with her core and sitting and then holding and then putting her leg on to keep the canter. But then when she was in 2-point, she let the horse lengthen, and then when it was time to shorten her stride, tell me if I'm wrong, but she really just locked, and you know, everybody tells you not to squeeze with your knees, but when you want to shorten your canter stride, squeeze with your knees. Because what that does is it locks your hips, and your horse does what you do, which is stop moving. Then your lower leg might have to come on to keep you breaking the trot. But those were really nice transitions where she never lost the connection. You know, if we were going to work more with these two, what we call it, there's leg yielding, there's shoulder in, and there's half pass, which I won't even get into right now. But we're going to try and ask it to be a little bit around her right leg. He's resistant here, and she's maintaining her leg, holding her reins so that he has to go on an angle a little bit, waiting for him to soften to it. Good. To the point where he can drop his neck and lift his back. Not quite done that. Let her keep going. You're good at this, Kendra. You sure you haven't done a lot of dressage? Across the diagonal. And then do that the other way. You can do a lot of it on this horse, so it's very little time. And I'll tell you in a minute why it's being a little bit resistant. Okay, go up the long side here, put him on an angle, shoulder in. So when we say shoulder in, it just means that the shoulders are inside the track of the hind legs. It's really about 3 tracks, so the diagonal legs are in the line. He's a little bit happier doing it this way. Okay, and rising trot forward, lengthen, keep the pole up, but ask for as big a step as you can get. Good. And back to working trot and walk. So, you got to